Alright, YouTube. Today is May 17th, 2020, Sunday. Getting ready to head out to Pozo Saloon. Figure I'll show you that ride. Probably won't have a drink, even, I don't even know if they're open. But I'll probably ride and turn around and just come back. I typically don't even have a beer when I ride. First, we're gonna stop and get some gas because we are I probably got about half a tank, but get some gas before we head out that way. I'm gonna head out through Santa Margarita. I hope I can see my phone when we get out there, because I actually I've only been out there one time and I don't remember the roads to take to get out there, so I'm bringing the phone, so use the GPS. First, the GPS kept wanting to bring me up 101 and then like take a side road, and it was like 5 miles off, it looked like. I could be wrong, but it looked like it was wanting to go out 101, and I want to take the back roads. So I got on a laptop and it let me select avoid highways, and then it gave me the route through Santa Margarita. So we're gonna do that route. It is warm. Warm. A little toasty. Alrighty. I'll have to see if there's a way to adjust the brightness. Have to see. See, is there a brightness adjustment? Oh, it's all the way bright. Guess it's just gonna be hard to see. Alright, let's get some gas. Yeah, paranoid, I got my gloves on. Approved. All right. Top her off here. Tick tock. So I got that bolt extracted. Got the foot peg mounted back on. I put 2 new bolts on both of them, just in case the other one was stressed from. I can't imagine that it was the only bolt for very long, because I noticed getting off the freeway I had no rear brakes, so probably fell off on the ride home. And then I since I had the exhaust off, I went ahead and placed one of the exhaust gaskets since I had one off. And then I was hitting those bolts up there on the exhaust with liquid wrench, and my heat wrap soaked up that liquid wrench, and my bike was smoking for about 10 minutes till it burned off, and then it was fine. It was all good in the hood. What we get? 2 gallons. Alrighty, that will get us out there and back. Whew, hands are sweating from the gloves. Alright. I love this gas cap. It's Kurikan, or however you say it. I like it. Alright. 1 o'clock. And we off. All right. I'll go this way. Yeah, it's gonna be kind of hard to see my phone. if I can tilt it towards me some more. Let me see. Let me try to mess with it right here for a second. Let's see. Can we tilt it? Oh, there we go. That's a little better. I don't know. This ram mount seems a little janky to me. It doesn't feel like it's that secure. I bought it brand new from Harley-Davidson in Santa Maria. I think about a year ago. It's probably only the third or fourth time I've used it. That's a little better. A little better view. Just sight on the screen there. Like I said, I've only been out here once, so yeah, I know. A lot of people are anti-GPS on the bike. It's all about getting lost. Well, I don't really want to get lost because this thing doesn't go that far in a tank of gas. And where we're going, there's no cell phone service. So you get lost, you get screwed. At least there's no cell phone service for mine. I got AT&T. And the last time I was out here, my cell phone did not work. Last time I was out here, though, was 6 years ago. When we first moved out here, my wife and I took a ride out with one of the social worker supervisors at her work. One of the reasons we came out here, one of her old co-workers from Fresno worked for social services out here. So we went with, her name is Barbara and her husband Steve. So we went out to Pozo and had a beer. I think we had lunch. Just took our time. On that ride, I lost a turn signal on the back. Well, I didn't lose it. It was still there, but it was only hanging on by the wire. We were heading out. I looked back and the darn thing vibrated loose. What it was I made my own like turn signal relocation kit so I could put saddlebags on. They had like an actual relocation kit you could buy from Harley, but it was like over $100. So I just bought a piece of aluminum, bent it, drilled it, and made my own bracket. But I used the same hardware that was on there. And when I did that, and I used the same bolts to hold those on, because of the thickness of the bracket I used to relocate it, you can only turn the nut like one turn. So I needed to get a longer bolt, but me being the cheap ass I am, I used the same bolt, threw some Loctite on there. It actually held for like 3 years, maybe 4 years, and then it finally came loose. So what I did was I went over to the hardware store, got the correct size, or a longer bolt, not really correct because I just made the relocation kit myself, but got a longer bolt and put that puppy on there, and now it's been good. I'll get back, I'll recheck the torque on those, the exhaust flange. It's this kind of like, it's not exactly a crush gasket. You know, usually when I say like a crush gasket, you think of a copper ring like on a drain plug. But it was different. It wasn't the beveled gasket you get from Harley. It was an aftermarket Vance & Hines one, and it wasn't beveled. It was just perfectly round and symmetrical. And at first I was like, how is this going to work? Because the normal one's like, it's beveled. But this one fits inside the hole perfectly. And then, you know, from what I could tell online, you tighten it up and then it smashes it into place, so it kind of goes around it. So I did that and I torqued it down, but whenever I use something that you kind of crush like that, I like to retorque it after a good ride, because I think sometimes it settles in a little bit and that crushes a little more. You don't put a whole lot of torque on those exhaust bolts. I want to say it's like, I could be wrong. I just looked it up 2 days or yesterday. I already forgot it. I want to say it was like 15 to 18 pounds, or maybe 20, 22. It's not, you don't put a whole lot of torque on those exhaust bolts. Those definitely are ones you don't want to break. So those, I always put some anti-seize on, make sure they don't get stuck. And I don't really like to crank on them too much. So I'll recheck it when I get home to see if that gasket's seated a little more. I kind of like it though. At first I was kind of skeptical of this Vance & Hines ones, but it actually got really good reviews. said it was much better than the stock one. The reason I was skeptical is because it wasn't beveled and it was just a round, thick gasket. I just didn't see how that was really going to work. But once I got it in there and tied it down, I was like, oh, I see, that makes sense. So we'll head out through Santa Margarita here, and then I'm not sure where we're gonna. Oh, it says we're turning in 2.5 miles. Well, we're not even really gonna make it to Santa Margarita. We might. Trying to think. We might make it right before the town starts, and then we turn. I think this might be the same road you take if you're going to Santa Margarita Lake. I gone fishing out there a couple times with my kid. I'm not a fisherman, but my kid wanted to go, so we got the fishing pole and the tackle box, and you know, looked on YouTube. I haven't been fishing in probably over 20 years. This is the last time I went fishing and actually caught something. So I went and got my fishing license. That was like 50 bucks. It was expensive. So we went out up here twice. We didn't catch anything either time. Then my son lost interest. I tried to tell him, I was like, I have a feeling you're gonna lose interest because a lot of patience with fishing. This guy looking, oh, he's getting ready to pull out. Anyways, he lost interest. Haven't been back since. It was kind of funny. We went out I think it was the second day we went out fishing. We went out, I think it was 2 weekends in a row, and we kept losing, you know, lures breaking off, and but we're also finding a bunch that were down in like the bushes off, kind of, they had like this little 5-foot drop, 4-foot drop, like straight down to the water, and there'd be like a little spot you could kind of stand down there. So we were out there and we saw some lures stuck in like some grass, so I grabbed Colby's hands and lowered him down off the side of this little straight drop off, and he went and got the lure and threw it up, and then I go to pull him, help him come back up, and I see a snake coming at him. Now I didn't really take time to like, oh, what kind of snake is that? I just like, oh shit, grabbed his hands and lifted him up out of the hole, and he's like, what the hell, how did you do that? I was like, kind of just reflex. He's like, why did you do that? And he hurt my arm. And we turn around, there's this big old snake there. But then I realized, you know, after I looked at it for a couple seconds and not just a knee-jerk reaction, it was just a king snake. But man, that thing was aggressive. It came right at him. And then when I pulled him up, it just sat there at the bottom, kind of like looking up. Like it wanted him. And then it sat there for a minute. It looked like it was trying to climb up, like I guess slither up the wall. It kept coming up, but then kind of going to the side, coming up, and then it just took off and it disappeared. So I think this is where we're going to turn here. This looks like it's oh, what road is this? 58. There we go. So we're going to take 58. Hopefully no one comes flying around this corner behind me. All right, we're good. We're good. Santa Margarita boat rentals. Santa Margarita Lake temporarily full. I wonder if they're really full, they just don't have a closed sign. I think they were allowing people out there, but only a few. Only a limited number of boats. So that could be what that's for. All right. So right on 58 here. Santa Margarita Lake, 8 miles. California Valley, 50 miles. We don't want to go to California Valley. Pozo La Panza. I almost wonder if I should change the bolts on this side too, since I've had this one break twice. I think it might just be a bad design for the way it's set up, because it's the same bolt as last time and it just shears it off, like shears it flush off. And I remember it was the same deal last time, because I went to brake and I had no rear brake. But you know, not that big of a deal as long as your front brake still works. But I remember it was the same thing. The brake pedal was going down. Like I push it and it just kept going down, and then I let up and it stayed down, because the whole thing was just rotating on that one bolt. So I do have a rear brake now. Maybe I'll pull out the bolts on that side and replace them with some new ones, just in case they're getting weak. Maybe it's my fat butt. Not that I can really put weight on these, because the way they're forward, I mean, besides maybe pushing on to adjust myself on the seat, you can't stand up on them. It's an awkward position. I'm looking at putting mid controls back on this. I thought that, oh, with everyone putting forward controls on their Sporties, it should be easy to find some used mid controls on eBay. You know what's crazy is I can't find any used mid controls on eBay, at least not for this year. So, where am I going? Oh, it said 0.1 mile. We're going somewhere, but I think we're just going straight. Make sure this guy doesn't pull out in front of me here. Made me a little nervous. I think he did the same thing. I think because it said 0.1 miles right there, but it was just to go straight, not to turn. I think it's because the road changed. Maybe once we hit that, maybe if you go left, that was to continue on 58. So maybe going straight was actually like making a right. So I am still waiting for that. I paid off that credit card over a month ago now, and it's still not showing up on any credit report. I've been just hoping to get my points up a few, get a credit score just a little higher before I apply for a loan. It's if I even apply for a loan. We'll see. I'm looking at used bikes. I'm actually even teetering with getting something other than a Harley. I mean, I love Harley, but I just keep seeing other stuff out there and like, oh, you know, it'd be fun to have that, and I'll still have this one, so I'll still have my cruiser. I mean, I've been thinking about getting a sport bike. There are different types of scramblers. I even saw there was some nice Victories on there. Used Victories a guy had for $5,000. He's got two of them. I can't remember the models. They're the same year, and they're two different models. And he was asking the same price for both, and they only had, I want to say, like 5,000 miles on them. Now, they were like a 2005 or 2006, but it was pretty low miles. They are fuel injected. So I kind of toyed with that idea too. I mean, I'm probably going to end up sticking with the Harley. But I do think it would be kind of fun maybe to have a sport bike, especially out here. I mean, there's so many nice roads out here. It'd be kind of fun to ride a sport bike on. Especially some of the nice windy ones they've repaved. So they're really nice. That was just grass. Looked like a rock. Anyway, just a ball of grass. So it is super nice right now. It feels like it's probably 70, yeah, I'd say 70. Low 70s right now. So it's showing that we are 14 miles away from the Pozo Saloon. Be interesting to see if they're actually open. But like I said, I don't think I'm gonna go in. I rarely drink and ride. I mean, if I do, it's like one beer and a meal, and I don't drink it and then go ride. I usually, like I say, if it's a meal, I'll have it with a meal. But just too many, I've had too many close calls where if my reflexes would have been delayed even by a fraction of a second, I would have been a pile on the highway. I mean, I've been had it so close where, and it was raining too. Traffic just came to a complete stop. It was poor visibility. I was going too fast, but I was able to get around and go off on the side of the road, and there was enough road there, luckily, on the grade. Which all I ended up doing was, it was like a utility, an old utility box truck. My foot peg and my mirror clipped it, and I think my the brake just kind of clipped it, and I was able to stay up. But I mean, if I would have had any slower reaction, you know, I'd have been over this far and would have smacked the back of it, and that would have not been good. But say that was that made me need to change my shorts. I say you don't want your reaction time delayed at all on a motorcycle. You need your reflexes to be on top of their game. I was wondering if this nav would even, I don't know, I wonder how this works if you don't have cell service. Do the new phones actually work off a satellite for the GPS part? I don't know. I do know that when I lose cell service, the GPS still works, so maybe they do somehow have GPS built in. I don't know. I also have my Garmin I could have brought. Actually, that's why I put this on here. Actually, I can I could hook it up to the phone or the Garmin. Well, it's really nice out. Got the clouds out, so we've got a little bit of shade here. Nice weather, beautiful ride. Let's say I haven't been on this ride in about 6 years. Let's say when we first came out here. So I wanted to pick something a little different today than normal. So usually I'm on the 101 going back and forth to work. I think I've posted a video going from 46 to El Camino Real, out there from Paso, cutting through on Morro Road there. I've done the Morro Road out to Morro Bay from Atascadero. So we're gonna do this one today. We're just taking a ride. I'll probably need to change batteries once we get out there, because this batteries for this camera only goes about 45-50 minutes. So I brought a spare in my jacket, so we will change that when we get there. That's probably about all I'll do once we get out there. Then we'll turn around and head back. I'm not sure if we'll take the same way back. Maybe I'll just let the nav take me. I think it's gonna want to shoot me out to 101, which I guess is fine, as long as it doesn't. I'd say for a second there, it looked like it was gonna start raining. It is supposed to start raining at like 5 or 6 o'clock. And what's weird is, like, it seems like it's always raining in Santa Margarita. If this says chance of rain and we leave our house and it's not raining, we hit Santa Margarita, there's rain, we get to slow and it stops. It's kind of odd. So it says we got 10 miles. This is actually getting there a lot quicker than I thought. I think when I came out here last time with Steve and Barbara, I think he may have taken me kind of on a zigzag and taken some different roads, because it seems like when we did that, it took us like an hour to get out here. But he knows the roads out here better. He probably had some route where we could go off this way, then go that way, then the other way, you know. I'm just taking the direct. Well, I'm not taking the direct because I think the direct wanted me to go up 101, and it said we get there pretty quick. So hey, we'll see. That's where we go fishing. We go that way, and it says temporarily full. The thing you got to worry about out here is deer. And there was just a accident. Are you gonna move, dude? Okay, thank you. There was accident over in Templeton. A guy in a Harley, he hit a deer, and they figure it was at night sometime. He managed to, like, I guess, make it back up to the road and collapsed. And they said he was there for hours, unconscious, and somebody found him, I think, and called 911, and they got him and brought him over to Sierra Vista or one of the hospitals. The guy was from Visalia. They actually posted the police report on the news, and it actually had his name. I won't say what his name was, but they said he was in major injuries. It looked like he was on like a 90s Springer Softail, but crazy. And then just Friday, there was a yellow cruiser. I don't think it was a Harley. It was definitely a cruiser bike, and it was all yellow. It was more yellow than mine. It had the front and rear fenders were yellow too. But it was on Highway 1, and it was a fatal. It said that a Jeep had pulled off the road to make a U-turn, and then he pulled off and made his U-turn and pulled right in front of the motorcycle. And he died. I actually had co-workers that saw it on Facebook sending me messages. Hey, I saw a fatal accident on the news, and it was a yellow bike. Just check and make sure you're okay. And I was like, yeah, I saw that. And yep, I said I'm good. I said actually my bike's down right now because got no rear brake. But yeah, it's man, it seems like I've been seeing them left and right lately. You hate seeing that. And there was another one in Fresno just recently where a guy hit a pole, and it was a fatality. One of my friends here about 3 years ago, same thing. He ended up hitting a pole, and he was in a coma for like a week, and they finally made the decision to take him off life support. Okay, let's stop being so down. Let's talk about something a little more exciting, a little more uplifting. How about COVID? There we go. Kind of, ugh. Did you see that deer back there? Oh, Yeah, that dead bird in the road just reminded me of a joke. I shouldn't have said it was a joke. Okay, so out in Bakersfield, there's a stretch of Highway 99, and there was 200 birds over this stretch of road for a couple miles. 200 dead birds. And at first they feared that maybe they were contracting COVID. So they went and they tested all the birds, and no, they actually weren't. They weren't positive for COVID. It ended up they had all died from blunt force trauma, being hit by cars and motorcycles. And they said they did some analysis because they never seen so many that had died like that. So they did analysis on their beaks with the paint, and they found that 98% of them were being hit by motorcycles. Oh, and I think they said these were crows. I think you got to put that in there. So anyways, they said 98% of these birds were being hit by motorcycles, and they said they found out the reason why. He says all the birds, they have a one that's they eat road. These crows will eat roadkill, but what they do is they have one bird that goes out while the rest are eating, that warns them of oncoming, that warns them of danger, and then that way they know to fly away when the car's coming. So what they said happened was, after studying it, they found out the reason that 98% of them were being killed by motorcycles because all the crows knew how to say caw, caw, caw. None of them knew how to say motorcycle. Okay, bad dad joke, I know. I was sitting there reading this because when I read it on Facebook, I was reading, they made it look like it was a news story. And I'm like, what? They did analysis on their beaks and tested paint? That seems a little far-fetched. But what got me was the COVID thing, so I started reading because you think, oh my god, is there birds getting COVID now and they're dropping dead everywhere? And then they get down into the punchline. I know, bad dad joke. I thought it was funny. It's a nice windy road here. We Oz. What do we got left? 5.5 miles left. Nice that I got nobody in front or behind me, because I'm just like to cruise. Not familiar with the road, so I don't really want to go flying. Not that you can really fly, this is a Sportster. And it's got no lean radius. I'll have to show you the bolts. I also replaced, because I had to take the exhaust off, there's two bolts on the bottom of the exhaust pipe that hold it to the, I guess, the mount. And they're like half gone from rubbing on the ground when I taken right hand turns too tight or leaning too far in right hand turns. And about half the bolts were worn off. So I went over to Ace and picked me up a couple new bolts for that too. I'm lucky the socket got on there and they loosened up. I was afraid it was going to be a pain in the butt to get those out, because I said if I remember when I get back home, I'll hold them up to the camera. It was like literally half the bolt was ground down at this like 45-degree angle. All right, it says we got 4.6 miles left. Getting a wee closer. It's super nice out here. You also got to watch out for cows out here. I have seen cows on this side of the fence on the road. You think hitting a deer's bad, I think hitting a cow would be worse. Don't want to steer you wrong. I'm sorry, more dad jokes. Bad dad jokes. Guess we can enjoy the sound of silence. Except there's no silence because my bike's cutting through here, but enjoy the view. Still semi-green right now. Pretty soon this is going to be extremely dry. I wonder how fire season is going to be. I saw a helicopter today with a bucket on it. Didn't hear anything on the news about a fire, but it was actually up around here. I saw it flying over, and it looked like it was just coming up from the ground somewhere, carrying the bucket. So I don't know if it was just maybe some kind of training, because I don't smell any smoke, haven't seen didn't see anything on the news about any wildfires or fires going on right now. still kind of early for fires. Yeah, we don't want to lean too far right. Don't want to start scratching up my new bolts. Alright, 5 minutes left. I gotta stop looking down. I keep looking up and I'm gonna end up going off the road. One thing I don't wish they could have it up a little bit higher. I guess I could probably rig something where the foam mount was up a little higher. I also gotta stare at it for a second to let my eyes adjust because the screen's so darn dark. So what else we got going on? Oh, next weekend, was it Memorial Day, I think? It's a 3-day weekend. But I'm gonna make it a 4-day weekend. I'm taking Tuesday off. So 2 of the other supervisors are gonna take Friday off and have a 4-day weekend. And then I'm gonna take off Tuesday and have a 4-day weekend. So next weekend, I'm hoping, because the credit reports update every Thursday, or it looks like Thursday, Friday. I'm hoping next weekend it updates, because I was maybe thinking of going down south. I think it was Riverside Harley has got a ton of used Harleys. And there was another, I can't remember the name of the other one, there's another dealership down south that has a huge inventory of used Harleys, and they have got some really good deals. So I'm hoping that the credit score gets updated by then. If not, I still might go. I'm gonna say it's not bad. I was hoping that when I got the credit card utilization down from, I think it was like around 25% to 0, because it says like optimum credit card utilization for your credit score is less than 6%. So I was like, oh well, if I'm at 25 and I paid them off and now it's at 0 or under 6, that would raise my score at least a few points. You know, I think every little bit matters when you're trying to get a loan. I could be wrong. Maybe it wouldn't make a difference. I don't really have a whole lot of credit. This bike's paid off. My car's paid off. My wife's car isn't, but that's not in my name. Actually, this bike is actually in my wife's name. Because at the time we bought this, I was unemployed. I was actually Mr. Mom. That was man, 8-9 years ago. Can't remember now how long, but I got this, I think we got this bike in 2012. So yeah, I was self-employed, but business was really slow. Shortly after that was when I ended up getting a job with the county. We decided that I would just be Mr. Mom for a while until he started school, and then worry about finding some work, since my computer business had really like taken a big dive. When I first started off, it was big. Computer business was great. Man, I was booked solid every day and on weekends. And then towards the end, I mean, when I started off, I was in the front of the phone book. I had this half-page ad right in the front. There was maybe 2 pages of computer businesses when I started out. And then by the time that I gave it up, there was like 20 pages and Craigslist ads, and like you got these college kids that are doing it for nothing. But you know, I had an overhead. I had to pay rent, you know, liability insurance, all the expenses that go along with a legitimate business. You got these kids out there advertising on Craigslist doing it for nothing. Just, you know, couldn't compete, couldn't keep up. So here is Pozo Saloon. It looks like they are, looks like it might be open, but we're gonna turn around and just switch batteries, and then we'll head back out. But this is it here. We have arrived. Really? Oh, my phone tipped sideways. Oh. This is the parking lot. Ooh. And all right, we're gonna switch them out.